Dead Space 2 has a lot more set-piece moments, like hurtling through debris after launching yourself from a solar array, standing on a giant boring, and no, not the, oh, I'm at work, this is boring machine. It feels more premium, but Harrison, does that affect the fear? Is it at the expense of fear?
I think it is. I think it does affect the fear a little bit. There's a couple of...
Yes! Carry on.
Yes. Moving on. No, I think that there are some that are very, very good and others that necessarily aren't. I like the hurtling through space one.
Yes.
I enjoyed that a lot. I had a lot of moments of shouting, do a barrel roll at myself and use the boost to get through from Star Fox. And then smashing headfirst into a large metal panel and turning into taco. I think the boring one you mentioned, the actual boring one, wasn't boring the first time I did it, but maybe it was the second.
Yeah, I think... sorry. You're on a boring machine going through like you're making a tunnel for yourselves, pretty much. You're like drilling through. So it's a boring machine, but yeah,
it's a mining derrick. Is it called a derrick?
I don't know what you call him,
but we shall call him Derek.
Could you see within parts of this game that Iron Man was popular?
Yes,
at the time.
Definitely. The landing with the jets. Yeah, you could.
It was pretty on the nose, but I think it nailed it pretty well. Like, Isaac is used to this stuff.
He seems comfortable being outside in space for those space moments. I do really like the flying outside, like, boss moments. I think they're very cool. I'm glad they expanded on the zero gravity stuff in this one.
Absolutely, because it wasn't great. In the last one, you just had to, like, jump from... like walkway to walkway in straight lines.
Jumped between, didn't you?
But now you just press a button and he just gets off the ground and uses his suit, has like air jets, so
he's got Magni boots.
Go around. Magni boots.
Magni boots. That's what we call them in the engineering space.
In the CEC.
In the CEC. Yeah, Magni boots. So yeah, I do like the thing with it. Is the one that was particularly your favorite?
I think it probably was the one where you're jumping from the solar array. I don't understand why there's a seat. And it's like, so the entire thing happens where he's just like, I'm in the solar array. And they're like, you'll never make it in time. And he's like, I'll be there. And then...
I'll make it.
Neglects to tell them that there's a seat where if you sit on it and then put yourself in it and lock yourself in, and then it just shoots you into space at like 200 miles an hour or something. It was like, well, who's designed this?
Who did this?
Yeah. I like to think he doesn't know what's going to happen. It's like, oh, God!
You think it's just a lift that's going to take him down?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's not what you think it's going to be at all.
No.
But it was definitely really cool. And I think Isaac did know what it was. And it shows to the point of, like, he does know what he's doing. Like, he is an engineer. He's aware of all the systems and what everything does. Mainly because he's probably either trained or helped with a lot of this stuff.
Maybe he built that, and that was why he was so incessant going up there. He's like, yes, I finally get to ride the catapult seat.
Yeah, I've never used the catapult seat.
Woo! The ride, this is awful.
Even though these scenes do kind of detract from the eerie horror that I'd kind of come to expect from Isaac's wild ride adventures, they're definitely some of the high points of the game. Like, I think they needed something other than just, like, horror. As much as I do like the horror stuff, they needed something else, and I'm kind of happy it is the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think... And this is something I suppose I should have touched on in the first part of this episode when we talked about terror versus horror. I think you can't really do Dead Space 1 again. And I know they're doing a remaster. I know that's happening. But what I mean is
they are literally doing Dead Space 1
literally doing it again. No, they can't do another story the same, if you know what I mean, because they've used all the tricks in the book, essentially. You've used the ghost train ride of like the slow build horror going through it. So all they could really do for the second one is elevate it and do it differently. And that's why they moved from horror to panic, I suppose, because it's a different kind of horror, you know? And it was the only way to take the player out of something that they probably got used to in the first one and put them in again into another horrific situation. I like that they did that with some of the set pieces as well, though, because I like that what's the one where there's like the explosive canisters hanging in all like the weird flesh tubes, and there's the giant enemy.
You gotta clear the lift.
Yeah, clear the lift. That's right. Yeah, and it's actually just after or before the mining derrick, isn't it? You've got to throw the explosive barrels at it to try and blow up sections, which I think is really cool. I did like that bit.
It was pretty good, and that's like you've got all the enemies coming at you, and you're just like, do I throw the barrel at this thing to stun it, or do I blow up the room and hope?
Just try and rush through it, yeah. So do you have any favourite weapons? I think in this episode as well, we should talk about our favourite weapons in Dead Space 2. Is there a weapon that you gravitated to more than others? Because I know obviously like, the plasma cutter is the classic weapon from the first one.
The classic plasma cutter I was using, because on PC you get all of the suits and you get all of the weapons as like that were bonus DLC stuff from different places.
That's right, yeah.
I made sure to only use stuff that I was meant to have and spent the money so that I wasn't like benefiting from the free shit. But
yeah, so
I was using the refurbished plasma cutter from the first game, because I was like, ooh, I love the look of this.
It does look good. I noticed that the girl in is it Ellie? Ellie has the old version as well, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, the plasma cutter they use, like Isaac uses when he gets it from the medical wing, it's used for surgery, and he's just like, you see it like, oh, they've done some delicate stuff on this guy. They've opened his rib cage at the start, and then Isaac takes it and just bam, like blasts the guy half. Like, oh god,
that's horrible, that bit, because the guy has woken up during surgery,
he's just
has
like,
his chest open. He's like, help! Yeah, and he's like trying to kick the thing off and it cuts his leg. Oh, not good. Not good. Sorry, carrying about your weapons. You were telling me about your weapons.
So, the weapons definitely give like a good deal of variety, but being locked to holding 4 at a time, it really limits it.
It does, yeah.
Seeing as you don't know what the situation's like, what the game's going to throw at you next, it can mess you up in like long range fights specifically, or if you're being swarmed. I really enjoyed the contact beam, which is like a charged one-shot, very high damage weapon, which will one-hit most things. But I couldn't warrant using it due to like the situation. Like if I get attacked by 3 things, like I can't use that because I'd have to shoot and then swap weapons, which takes time. And then, well, I never got around to using things like the detonator or the seeker rifle, because I was always using the plasma cutter, like the force gun for clearing little mobs. You know, like you get the little like glebby little gribby grabbies.
Yeah, little glebby globs. Yeah.
I use that for clearing those because it takes 1 shot opposed to like a few. The Ripper for like if there's a single enemy that's got a fair bit of health, it'll stun them enough and cut into them and do that fine. And then the pulse rifle or the line gun, depending like just what I was feeling, because they're both pretty good multi-purpose.
Yeah, they were my 2 that I mainly stuck on. I think the line gun's probably my favourite gun. And I know in part 1 I mentioned mine kept jamming. Line gun fire, what the hell?
I didn't know, can weapons jam?
I didn't think they could, but there's loads of instances, and they're on stream of me going, it's not firing, like when I'm like swarmed by loads of stuff.
Oh, I think it's because the animation, it has to like open up its arms.
No, it's like I fire once and then it won't fire again, but it's not, I have to reload, it just didn't fire. I don't know if it was the new control. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. So I went between that, the plasma cutter, and the pulse rifle, which is the machine gun, which can be good for long range, and the grenade, like when you basically discharge the full clip, don't you? And it like explodes to clear enemies.
Pretty much, yeah.
Used that a few times as well.
I reckon the game could have done with like a weapon wheel like Doom, but they'd have to be way more stingy with the ammo. Like they could have done it like, cause, you get a lot of multi-tools now, where it, like in real life, where it's like, oh, this thing is, I don't know, like a multi-tool / circular or fucking whatever. I feel like they could have done the thing of like almost like Control, where the weapon changes. So that would have been cool. Pick up the different ammo for it, but it's, there's 3 different guns and they each have like 2 different modes or something, or 3 different modes.
Yeah, that
way
good.
It'd be situational and there'd be a reason to use this stuff. Like the assault rifle has an alternate mode, which is the seeker rifle. Or the plasma cutter's got like an alternate mode where you've literally got to put on a new attachment, which makes it the charge rifle.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or like the line gun, it makes it even wider or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like he has to physically change it because he's an engineer.
That would be good.
I think they touched on that kind of in Dead Space 3, but they could have done it with 2 just for the fact I didn't use 2 or 3 weapons.
Yeah, I just went through the same 3 all the way through.
It kind of messes you up. Because you can be in situations like do you know we'll talk about enemies in a bit, But there's situations where you're like, the big tentacly things that shoot the Isaac-seeking bullshit missiles at you. If you don't have a weapon to deal with that, there's nothing you can do. It's I feel like it's bad they gate you in that way. It's like, I don't have any plasma cutter ammo, and I don't have any long-range weapons, and I don't have anything fast-firing, so I can't destroy the Seekers. There's nothing I can do in this situation.
Yeah, other than that, every weapon is pretty damn satisfying to use. I remember, like, I didn't use the other weapons this time, but I remember enjoying them all, other than, like, the flamethrower I don't think was very good. But I just think it just wasn't my kind of thing. I prefer, like, the force gun, just like a blah, blah, but it's like forcing big waves of energy just to knock everything away. It was really cool.
It's good to see outside of the weapons that Isaac's actually doing a bit of engineering. Because in the first game, he doesn't. He just hits buttons. But
yeah, when this time you get to like hack the machines, don't you? You put your arms in it and he like jimmies it about.
Yeah, he's got access to like the little panels and stuff where he can go through the vents because he's got, it says cool. Like ship engineer Isaac Clarke. So it's like the ship's got his registry on there. His checker trade rating must be mint.
Must be well.
Trusted traders. But he's got access to those areas that other people wouldn't, and the necromorphs can't get into because they're not an engineer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I will say his job does seem pretty easy. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
It's literally just lining up pipes or using kinesis or like pressing touch panels. Like,
pressing buttons. I know.
Job.
Also, I'd just like to point out that checker trade joke will go over 90% of listeners' heads who are in the UK.
Yeah. I don't know. We use it to rate builders to make sure they're not cowboys.
Yeah, it's like...
do Americans say cowboys? Cowboy builders?
I don't even know. It's like TripAdvisor, but for builders.
I guess Americans are just like cowboy builders, and they're just like, yeah, I've got a builder that's a cowboy. I live in the South. Like,
they're great.
He comes in, lassos a hammer. Just like, yeehaw! TJ Weems comes
Massive
out.
swing in the hammer, like swinging it on it for every time he hits a nail all around the house. This guy's, he's so productive. What's next?
I think part 3.
No, suits. We got to talk about suits.
Yes, we do. What's your favorite suit, Harrison?
The advanced suit. We'll see you in part 3.
I still rate it's the original suit. Well, not the original suit, because the first suit is like the big one with the gap in the front, and it's like all blue.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it the level 3 engineering suit from Dead Space?
Yeah, I think so.
The vintage suit's kind of cool in this.
I was gonna say the vintage suit, like it's like a Big Daddy almost. Yeah, that's very cool. I did like that one. I do like the one on the box though. I like the advanced suit. I just think it's a lot more sleek looking, which I don't like as much. I prefer the bulkiness, but I like the helmet of the advanced suit.
I do like the helmet there. I just feel like Isaac, as an engineer, the engineering suits him. But it is what it is. I get he needed different gear and stuff like that. So, and he needs to be more agile, so you notice that there's a lot of like, the armor's missing from a lot of his suits. He's got more room to maneuver, really, which makes a whole bunch of sense.
And that shows, again, how the theming of this game is different to the first one, how he needs to be more agile and move around because it's panic-inducing and not horror-inducing.
Yeah, whereas in the
Look at these themes.
You can take a few hits, whereas in this one, you can still take them, but I feel like not as much because you can dodge. You can run backwards.
You can. He probably like plobs, doesn't he?
He's a plobby boy. I do like it.
He's running through treacle.
Oh, sexy treacle.
Ooh. Shall we move on to sexy part 3?